thud. The arrow bounced off the tree, 2 inches above the target. "Not bad, Jake." Loki Redmond reached for her bow and grinned at him. "A few more weeks of practice and you might even hit the target." Jake Xavier shook his head and watched as she quickly drew an arrow from the quiver, nocked it, pulled back the string, and released it, all in one smooth motion. "Bullseye." "Show off," Jake grumbled. Loki handed the bow to him. "Want to try again, or have you had enough? I need to lay out the stakes for dinner." She followed his gaze as it strayed toward the rambling old farmhouse, his lips puckered and his eyes narrowed. Loki knew Jake wasn't seeing what she saw when she looked at the house. To onlookers, it was weather-beaten and tired, badly in need of a new roof and windows. To her, it was still warm, inviting, and felt like home. It was inside that farmhouse she'd felt the first stirrings of pride in her heritage. Her grandfather, although a white man, had taught her what it meant to Choctaw.
"Have you thought about what you're going to do with the farm?"
"I think Grandpa would want us to keep it." The death of Loki's grandfather the month before had come as a complete surprise, but not as much as finding out he'd left the homestead and over 100 acres to her and her brothers. "Daedrin, Jules, and I talked about leasing it out, but we don't want someone here full-time. We've been visiting since we were little, and I can't imagine not being able to come whenever I want to."
"You could stay in Mississippi and run the farm. I saw some wild horses up on a ridge yesterday, and there's several nice places to build a cabin. Plenty of room for Daedrin and Jules."
Her heart skipped a beat. There was nothing in the world she would love more than staying here. Except Jake Xavier. "I thought you wanted to get back into law enforcement. Harry and Jenna both say the governor would be willing to overrule Judge Burkett's order."
"Regardless of my reasons, Loki, the judge was right."
He turned toward the trees surrounding the property and sighed.
"I took the law into my own hands and killed people. I don't deserve to wear the badge again."
Jake bent to retrieve the arrows, placed them in the quiver, and handed it to her.
"I've already told Harry I wasn't coming back. I'm done with police work."
Loki studied his shoulder-length hair, a vast difference from the crew cut he'd worn before, as was the beard that partially covered the scars on his face. I'm never going to convince him not to blame himself. "You don't want to cut your hair or shave," she teased. He ignored her and continued to gaze at the forest. "At least we have something in common." The forest pulls him, inviting long walks clustered in the shelter of its dark foliage, with only the sounds of the wind through the trees. He may not be Indian, but he has the soul of a warrior. Her mind was flooded with childhood memories of the house surrounded by a mass of vibrant colors in the fall as the leaves turned shades of gold, yellow, and red, and Loki couldn't imagine not being able to walk out in spring and watch the forest come to life as dogwoods bloomed. Even if they decided to return to Corpus Christi, she could never sell the farm. Daedrin and Jules would be here in 2 weeks. Loki walked toward the house. If we're going to stay, we'll have to talk to them about the private investigation business. We could easily close the office in Texas and open one here. Or you and I could open one here and let Daedrin and Jules run the Corpus Christi office.
"I think I'll take a walk."
"Grab a radio and don't go too far. There's a storm coming in, and the temperature can drop fast." Jake laughed and waved a hand at the clear sky.
"The little people tell you that? Or was it the wind?"
Loki licked a finger and held it up. "The wind isn't talking, but I did watch the weather forecast this morning, and according to them, we've got more snow on the way, as well as below-freezing temperatures for the next week or longer."
"I thought the temperatures were always warm in the south."
Loki rolled her eyes. "I hope